strong.
It's a writing guide. Uh-huh.
Okay, and today the piece of writing we're going to do is a piece of sci-fi. When we're writing our piece of sci-fi, we're going to write about 300 words of sci-fi. We're going to make sure that there's some kind of scientific advance that doesn't currently exist and that is going to exist within our story. And then our story, although it's going to have a similar structure, it's going to have that arc. So there are going to be problems and solutions, and there's been a growth of characters and characterizations. Our story is going to be centered around this technology that doesn't currently exist but will exist in our stories. I've given you some examples of what kind of technology you might want to add. One of the examples I've given you was a time machine. Time machine, pretty obvious. It allows you to go forward or allows you to go back in time. And what that allows you to do is either explore a part of history that you find particularly interesting. So, for example, if you really wanted to go siege a castle or have a massive sword fight, then that's obviously something that you could really enjoy doing with your time machine. You could also go into the future, and when we go into the future, it allows us to talk about things that are happening now which might have gotten like a lot worse or a lot better in the future. If we have something like dystopian is where we go into the future and then things have gotten massively worse. So we can imagine that right now people play video games quite a lot, and that they watch TV and Netflix quite a lot. So we might imagine a future, say in 100 years' time, when all people do is watch Netflix and play video games. So we go into the future in our time machine, and then we find that people are just really fat, even fatter than me, and they're all sat on their chairs just day after day watching Netflix, and nobody really knows what a tree is, and nobody's ever really been outside. So that will give us some idea of this dystopian, this horrifying future that we might get to. Another idea I've given you is one of telepathic powers. So telepathy is where I can use my mind to know what you are thinking. For example, just checking out Oliver Puss right now. I know that he wants to hit me with that sword. This is telepathy. I know what you are thinking. And we might think to ourselves, what if we have a world that has telepathy in it? What kind of world would that be? And how can we make a story where either just telepathy is casually something that exists, or that people learn that telepathy is horrible because it's good to have secrets, for example, as a reasonable lesson. I've also added telekinesis, and their telekinesis is that you can move things with your mind. So, these are different kind of sci-fi ideas, future ideas that don't exist right now but might exist in the future. In terms of structure of our writing, I'd like to start with some kind of flash forward or flash back, and I'd like us to try to integrate some kind of idea of a TV show or of a radio show which is giving us exposition at the start of our story. So when you think about the start of our story, very much like me, you're going to have it like a little radio which is just going to tell us something that happens. And we try to do our radio voice. We try to be like, time machine invented in Paris. Where will they go next? They've been in the past, they've been in the future. They've been to Rome, they've been to Carthage. Will they go into the future next, or will they go to the dinosaurs? Tune in to find out. And then we're going to try to add that to our story. Or we might say things like, I don't know, scientists invent telekinesis. What will you move? Move your breakfast to your mouth? Move your TV remote to your hand? Move anything you like. What are the connotations for our society? So we have this different kind of radio broadcast. Then we'll have like a flash forward or a flashback where we talk about what's happened, somebody in a difficult situation, kind of like, oh my God, why won't they get out of my mind? And then we go back to where we were before and we move forward as a form of writing. I'd also like us to try to bring on the idea of alliteration. Alliteration is just where we use the similar kind of sounding word in order to create a kind of a bit of a flow or enjoyment to our work. So, for example, we might say like the happy hippo heaves heavy Herculean hills. Right, hear this kind of sound, adding a bit of flow to what we're doing. So make sure that you proofread and make sure that what you've done is an excellent piece of writing with lots of words from the book and figurative language included. These are the standard things always our writing should have: proofread, words from the book, and alliteration and figurative language like metaphor and simile. These are the basics things that we want. Vivid descriptive language. There's never something that we drop out of what we've done. And from last week, remember, we're going to be adding emotions, how our characters feel when they act.
People who don't proofread get their ears eaten.
I see you. Make sure you like the video.